the first one, which I think has to make the authorities wonder and think the worst on that. Scott?
Thank you very much. Major Garrett, our chief White House correspondent, is at the White House this afternoon, and we do not know the cause of these explosions, but I understand that the president has been informed. Major?
That's right, Scott. President Obama was notified. A White House official tells us we don't know precisely when the president was notified or who did the notification, but the president has been notified. He's monitoring the situation, and he has ordered everyone in the federal government to be in contact with the relevant state and local authorities. That's very common practice in emergency situations like this. And of course, the president has told those state and local officials the federal government will provide whatever assistance it can and that is requested. One note, Scott, the president has a different counterterrorism advisor inside the White House. Lisa Monaco joined the White House somewhat recently after John Brennan, who was the president's former counterterrorism advisor within the White House, was confirmed as the new CIA director. The president has a slightly new team dealing with these issues. But again, it's worth pointing out, as we have said many times, there is no absolute proof this is a terrorist situation. It is an emergency situation. The president's notified and is monitored.
Major Garrett at the White House. Major, thank you very much. We now have that videotape I'd like to go back to that shows both explosions. And to make it a little bit easier to see the second explosion, we've drawn a circle around it for you. That's the first explosion, right there at the finish line of the Boston Marathon. Now, as the camera tends to pan left here in just a moment, you'll see there it is, the second explosion down the street. That's where the second explosion is. Our producer, Kylie Atwood, is on the phone with us. Kylie, what do you know?
Yeah, hi, Scott. I'm on the corner of John, where the medical tent is located, and we just heard a third bomb go off. I was approached by policemen who are trying to push people away from the medical tent because it seems like the third bomb that just went off was in a location that the police were able to detect before it went off. We don't know where it was, but they gave us a warning that you're going to hear a large sound in a few minutes. And sure enough, we just heard that large sound go off.
Kylie, do you have any idea what that might have been?
I asked the policeman and I said, do you think that was a bomb? And he nodded his head to say yes. He did not confirm that, but that's what it's looking like right now, Scott.
Kylie, thank you very much. We've been on the air about an hour now. It's a very confused situation. Information is coming to us slowly. Here's what we know. There have been at least 2 explosions. One followed the other by about 15 seconds. This is near the finish line at the Boston Marathon. We do not know what caused the explosions. There is the first one. And we also have videotape of the second one, which appears to have occurred about a block further down the road. That's the aftermath of the first explosion. As the camera begins to pan to the left, you will see the second explosion down the road. There it is. There is the second explosion about 15 seconds after the first. We do not know what has caused this, whether it was an accident of some kind, natural gas explosion, or whether it was a deliberate act. The authorities have not sorted that out yet. What we do know is that many dozens of people appear to have been injured. Some of them appear to be severely injured. We do not have any official word on deaths, although some witnesses have reported what they believe to have been people who were killed, although we do not have official confirmation at this moment. Joining us on the set here in New York is Dr. John LaPook, our medical correspondent. John, you've been watching the videotapes of the injuries, and you know quite a lot about the emergency rooms and the emergency services that are available there nearby in Boston. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Boston, if there's any town where this had to happen, Boston would be one of the best in the world because there are many, many very fine world-class institutions. One of the first things you're going to do when they see these people is just first aid, assessing their vital signs, what is their blood pressure, what is their pulse. One of the things that can happen with trauma and with explosions is that you have an injury to blood vessels. And when blood vessels get injured, you have bleeding, the blood pressure can go down, and the very first thing you're going to want to do is put an intravenous line in, get the person fluid. Now, you're not going to be able to get them blood right away, but if you can just get them fluid, intravenous fluid, then their blood pressure can come up and you can maintain their consciousness.
One of the things about this that may be a break is that there was a very large medical tent set up at the finish line, that was designed to take care of runners who were in trouble. And so this may have helped them, at least in the early part of the triage.
And in these situations, the very first 5, 10, 15 minutes are crucial because when the blood pressure drops precipitously, you have decreased perfusion, decreased blood flow to the brain, to the kidneys, other vital organs. And that's where a lot of damage can happen. For example, with the kidneys, you can get a shock situation that's called acute tubular necrosis happening to the kidney. The blood pressure goes down to the kidneys and they stop making urine, and that can be a real big problem. And the same thing, of course, to the head. If you get too little blood flow to the head, people lose consciousness.
Well, we're seeing many people being taken away. In this videotape that was shot probably about an hour ago, clearly a lot of people must be in shock. A lot of these patients must be in medical shock.
They are, and I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of patients with trauma, people who've been stabbed and shot and had explosions around them, and that's exactly right, Scott. They are in shock. They don't even realize sometimes that they've been injured. They can have part of their body literally blown off and not even realize it. So one of the very first things they're going to be doing is assessing these people and making sure that they're warm, that they have enough blood flow, that they have enough intravenous fluids.
Let's go back and look at, we have a still photograph of one of the explosions. There it is. These are runners in the foreground heading toward the finish line at the Boston Marathon. And this still photograph has captured the moment of one of these explosions. The explosion is on the sidewalk or coming from the building there. We have videotape of the people who were injured at that location, and the windows were blown out of several buildings up and down the street there.
One of the things that happens, Scott, is that you can have smoke inhalation. Of course, you saw that big plume of smoke. That can go into the lungs and give you a condition called pulmonary edema. It can feel like you're not able to get any air in whatsoever. So one of the things they're going to be doing is looking at how much oxygen is in their blood. You can do that with a very simple little gizmo that goes on the finger. And if that's down, they'll get some oxygen. If it's really down, they may even get a breathing.
Into the newsroom now, a short description from an eyewitness to what happened. Let's listen in on that.
And I just walked away, 15 feet away, 20 feet, and, the bomb went off, and it knocked me to the ground, and, everybody started running, panicking.
Now, that gentleman just said a bomb went off. He was, I'm sure, just